Hello, guys. Today we have Anjie who's coming on to talk about Feng Shui, and I'm excited to have her. We were talking a little bit off camera about so much. She's actually a Kundalini practitioner. She does Japanese flower arranging, and she is a Feng Shui expert. She teaches others to become Feng Shui experts, but also has clients where she guides them in this way. So everything is energy. All of the things that we have in our home, everything contains energy. And there are particular parts of our house that connect to a theme in our life. And in this episode, we go really deep on all of those themes of our physical space and how to amplify the positive energy, whether we have obstacles in financial abundance or partnership or what else do we talk about? Our career, aligning to our purpose, welcoming in a relationship, expanding our family. We go through all different ways to access abundance in these areas of our life through the practice of Feng Shui. I know you're going to love this conversation. It was just one of those aligned combos that we love so much here, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you on the other side. I'm so excited to have you here. I feel like in the first 5 minutes off air, there was so much buzzing. I knew immediately you were a manifesting generator because you rattled off all of these interests you have. I'm like, you are absolutely a manifesting generator. You're like, yes, I am. And we have so many commonalities as well that I'm just learning about. So tell us a little bit about you and the things we were chatting about off air, because I want everyone in the community to get to know you too.
It's so nice to be here. It's a beautiful day, and it's even better since I get to meet you. I'm Anjie Cho. I teach Feng Shui. I do a lot of other things too, but the primary thing I do is I teach Feng Shui. I teach Feng Shui practitioners. I'm also a trained architect, so I still do renovations here in New York City. And like you said, I do a lot of things, but we're here to talk about Feng Shui and see how that can help your community.
I'm so excited about this. So when you first walk into a space, what is like an immediate no? Isn't it funny that my mind just goes to the negative? But like, I would want to know, you walk into a home and some like huge no-nos. You're just like, oh no, this is throwing off the energy here.
That's a great question. I think because, first of all, I think a lot of people discount their own connection to Feng Shui in this way, that they don't see that they already have that intuition, because all of us can think to a situation where we moved into a new place.
Yeah.
And we looked at several places, and there had to have been at least one where you walked in and said, no, no way, Jose, like I would never live here. And there might not be anything visible that tells you that, because in Feng Shui, we look at, the most important thing we look at is the qi, the life force energy that flows through all living things. And sometimes the qi or the energy, and qi is spelled QI or sometimes CHI. It's like prana or in Reiki, the KI. It's the same, like that life force energy. So sometimes it's just off, and that doesn't mean that it's off for everyone. Maybe it's okay for you, but it's not okay for me. So I think the first thing I can tell is if the qi accommodates me. And then there is definitely some qi that accommodates nobody.
I was just going to say no one. Like, this is a no.
Yeah. So there's definitely like places, like for instance, there can be a perfectly beautiful home that just never sells, like can't find a buyer. Or one, like we all know, like a store that it's always changing owners, like it's always a new business, like every 6 months. So there's something off with the qi and the energy. And that can be due to many different factors, but usually it's connected to the energy of the people and the objects in the space and around the space presently, but also just the previous owners and the owners before that and anyone that walks by. Even though the qi influence is very light, depending on the amount of contact, all of that, we call it predecessor qi, affects the space. So I think a lot of people can acknowledge that we all have this ability to tune into the qi, and to really acknowledge that when you get that first hit, like this is not for me, this is off. whether that's with a person or with a space or with an object, to listen to that energy, that chi, and listen to your heart, because you're really tuning into that gut instinct.
I love how you started that, because for me, I know that you have a lot of wisdom. So immediately I wanted to ask you, like, what's the no? Because I feel like you're more in power in this situation because you have the experience, you have the wisdom, you have the knowledge. And I would be curious for you to come in and see what's in alignment, what's not with Feng Shui. But it's so true, like anything else, our innate wisdom, our intuition is there. And intuitively, I'm sure there's so much we do know just by feeling into the energy, being someone who's really connected to her intuition. And that's just it's a very empowering way that you described it. And I appreciate that, because that's what I'm all about here too. It's like sending the power back to each and every one of us, because it's in there. It just needs to be either acknowledged or we need to be reminded of it. And it's that wisdom that lives within us.
Yeah, they say like it's in from a Buddhist point of view, they say it's like the sun, or sorry, the clouds covering the sun, that the sun is always there and sometimes clouds cover it. And if we wait long enough, the sun comes out. But I can't answer your question the other way too. So, so there's lots of different things I might say, oh no, to. But one of them could be if you walk towards a space and you notice when you walk in the door, there is something blocking you right away, or the door can't open all the way. So a lot of people tend to accumulate clutter at their front door.
I'm sorry, I'm giggling because I will take my shoes off and leave them right by the door, and my husband will try to get in and like literally can, and he'll be like, why would you leave your shoes there? But I'm an air sign. I'm like putting my shoes down and I'm already like upstairs in my mind, like going into the next thing. So I was just giggling. But I also had a bench, and my friend came in and assessed my space and told me to remove it. So we live on a really small plot of land. We live by the beach. So it's more about like the beach than your own land. It's more about like community where we live. So we have a little plot of land, and I have the driveway and then my front door, but then in front of my front door was a bench. So it was like hard to navigate to get into my front door. And we recently moved it. And I do feel a difference. And it makes so much sense. But sometimes when you're in it, you don't see it that way or realize it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you try to assess like your own energy, your own space, your own feng shui, or anything else, like your own teeth, I don't know. It's hard to see the back of your head. It's hard to also see the things in your space that you've become so accustomed to, because we get really used to it. So a lot of people don't notice that they're blocked every day when they're coming home from being outside, and before they go out into the outside world, the last thing they've experienced is a block or an obstacle. And the front door in Feng Shui represents the portal for energy or chi to come into your life, because it's the door between you and the outside world. So if you can't open the door all the way, if there's a bench blocking the flow of chi, and sometimes like just most obviously, like people can't even open their door like 90 degrees, or like people will start to accumulate. One pair of shoes is okay, but like, so, there's been shoes there for several weeks, or piles of things that they want.
My husband's going to be like, thank God you had her on the podcast. You're going to help me so much.
I have a joke too. I'm like, I'm also a couples counselor.
Literally, Vinny's going to be like, praise God. Thank you.
So, but I think that knowing that, especially if there's a part of your career or your life that you want to open up a little bit more, then you can make a little bit of an effort to say, oh, I'm going to make it more spacious at the entry where the energy comes in, with the intention that you're creating more space for more opportunities, be able to easily move through that transition, that portal between the outside world and your internal world. Because every time like you can't open the door easily, that you have to like jiggle the doorknob a little bit or the lock a certain way, or you're making an accommodation, that over time, like a drop of water on a stone, affects you, even though it's just a little thing. But how many times a day does that happen? At least once or twice a day. And so that begins to create obstacles in your life. And like one example was I had a student once that had a railroad apartment, a New York City railroad apartment, which, so if the listeners don't know what that is, like a long apartment with a long hallway. And they had a bike in the hallway. And they had all these aspirations, like, I'm gonna like bike everywhere. So they never did, I guess. And they were thinking of selling the bike for years. Anyways, every day, working from home, walking from the living room to the bedroom to the bathroom, you walk by this bike that you have to like go sideways by because it's very tight in a railroad apartment. It's a tiny hallway and a bike takes a lot of room. So even though you've become accustomed to it, it's not a problem. It is, because from an outsider's point of view, you're changing your path. It's not an easeful path of flow. The flow of chi is obstructed. You've created an obstacle for yourself several times a day that you offer energy to willfully. So that's very expensive. Yeah. It's very expensive energy where you could be offering that to create something that you want to have in your life, or even use that energy towards rest. So definitely any kind of obstacle at the door. Some obvious ones are a lot of things blocking the door, clutter at the door, not being able to open the door all the way. I see a lot of people who have put a lot of hooks on the back of their door and you can't get there. And sometimes the bench too, like you want the bench there to sit down and take off your shoes, but then
it accumulates.
Yeah, it accumulates. So, but that's okay. The change is that you can create rituals where you periodically acknowledge that's there and you put things away. So when you start to bring that attention to that area, you're also doing a feng shui adjustment where you're bringing more chi, more life energy with your intention and your attention to bring more light to that space, to bring more of what you want in that transition space between you and the outside world.
Yeah. So do you recommend the door being able to open at least 90 degrees? At least?
All your doors.
Okay.
Especially the front door.
My door, but it's definitely 90 degrees. It's not more than that.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do I need to actually open it 90 every time I come in, or it just has to have the functionality to open
It
for
should
90?
have the functionality to open 90 degrees.
Okay.
It doesn't need to open a full 90 degrees every time. No, that's a good question though.
Okay. So if someone, I know that you have like a whole business aspect to Feng Shui as well, which I want to get to, but I want to think about personal first. If someone wants to bring something into their life, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's starting a family or a new opportunity, whatever it may be, what are some tips you would give to them?
So the front door is definitely important because all of that chi comes in through the front door.
Okay.
But we have a nice little diagram.
Yes, you do.
Here.
Yep.
So
is there a direct link to that diagram?
Yeah, I could send you one.
Perfect. So we'll put it in the show notes so people can watch along with us as we look at it.
So this is called the Feng Shui Bagua map, and we'll give you a link that you could download a free Bagua e-kit, and it's some mandala that you overlay over your home, and it has 9 different life areas that look at some of those things that you mentioned, like inviting a relationship. So the popular ones are relationship and wealth. So that's this pink area.
On the top right.
On the top right, yep. And then the purple area, which is the wealth area. So those are the most popular. But you also mentioned like new opportunities. That could be that green area, which is called new beginnings. And there's also other areas like health is in the center, which is yellow. There's completion, which is white. It's also called children. So that's another thing you asked about. If someone wants to try to have children or is working on fertility, that's an area to work on. There's also the gray area, which is helpful people and benefactors. The black area is your career, and the dark blue area is skills and knowledge and spirituality. And also, sorry, the red area is fame, recognition, and your visibility.
So if you walk into a room
Mm-hmm.
and stand at the center of it, you're in the place of harmony, health. And then if you look to the right, is that how this works?
Well, the first part works. So the center of the room is always this yellow area, which is health and overall well-being. And the reason why it's that way is because the center connects to all the perimeter of the space. But how you would lay the bagua is that you would stand in the doorway of the space and look in, and then your far right, the furthest right corner would be the relationship area, and the pink area, and the furthest left corner would be the purple area, which is the wealth and abundance area. And so then the other, you would divide it into a 3x3 grid, like a tic-tac-toe, and everything would fit into that.
So if my door was over here,
oh, the door would be either
I walk in.
So the door would be in the black area.
Here?
Yeah.
This would be the door. Got it. Okay, cool.
I have a better diagram in this book. I made all the diagrams.
Interesting. Okay, so the door is always in the black area, card 7.
No, the door could be in the dark blue area, the black area, or the gray area.
Got it.
So here's an example of a bedroom. Can you on page 59, and it shows 3 different locations for the door.
Got it. Okay.
So it could be in insight and wisdom. Insight is also skills and knowledge. Wisdom is also career, and then alignment is the helpful people benefactors.
Really cool. Okay. So if it's more rectangular, it's just like these boxes would be more rectangular. It's still the same grid.
Yeah. So you could visualize what is
Stretching.
that? Yeah, stretching like saran wrap. It stretches over the space, and it can adapt. So you would proportionally have like that tic-tac-toe or that grid stretch.
Interesting. I'm now relating this to the space I just opened, which you mentioned earlier. And as I walk in, the space where I work out of every day, like my office area, is insight and growth.
Oh, that's great.
Which feels really aligned.
Yeah.
And then the space I teach out of is reflection.
Okay. That's good too.
Yeah. And then the space where everyone else sits to like receive the meditation is wisdom, harmony, inspiration, some abundance, and some growth.
I think that's great. That works out. That works out good. And then you could also, like we talked about before we started recording, like you can also selectively, intentionally add things. The only thing I might ask you is, where is the bathroom located?
The bathroom is located in the abundance area.
Okay. That's okay. So, okay, that's a question we get a lot. Like, oh no, what if my bathroom is in any area, right? So some people worry.
Actually, it might be more in between. No, I guess it's in between like abundance and inspiration.
Okay. So what that could mean is that in Feng Shui, water represents wealth. So just like if you try to hold water in your hands, it's going to flow through. So it always needs to flow. So traditionally, Feng Shui looks at where the bathroom is, because in ancient times, like even in some countries, the bathroom is a place that harbors a lot of disease, and it's not a clean place to have near your home. But nowadays in the Western world, most of my clients spend the most money on the bathroom, right? So it's a place that can be a spa-like retreat. So, but the idea is that the water flows out. Water does flow back in, but the concern is that water, or the cash flow, or the abundance, the finances, can flow away. And also, like, if you have a home and you have a plumbing problem, what's the most expensive problem you could have in your home? Like a plumbing problem. So one thing that you could do. Okay, so basically having your bathroom for your new space in kind of in the abundance area and kind of in the inspiration area. What that could mean is that there's an opportunity for a little bit of losing some finances, or also the inspiration area is fire element. So, and that's your visibility. So it means that your fire, your visibility, your ability to be seen is a little bit dampened, because what does water do to fire? Puts it out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few things that we could do to adjust that from a feng shui perspective. You can bring in plants, for instance. So the plant, is there a window in there? No. Okay. So you could do a living green plant. If there's no window, the other option is you can bring in something of the, you could bring in red for the inspiration for the fire element. You could bring in something with red and something that has purple, which is the color of the abundance area. So it could be something as nice as, it could be amethyst and carnelian.
I could bring in there.
Yep. Or you could also put fresh flowers there and get red flowers or purple flowers.
Okay.
Or a red vase or a purple vase. But a crystal will certainly work.
Do you know what's so funny? The whole entire space, as you have seen, is one color. Very minimalist. And my mom was helping me pick out some art for the bathroom because I needed to liven up the bathroom a bit. And that's the one area we did not touch. We kept it as is. And she sent me this quote that I loved. It actually, I think it's from the Old Testament, which is very random. But I think it says, perhaps this is the moment that in which you were created for, something along those lines. And I believe it has each of those colors in it. It's almost like a rainbow of colors. And I wish I could say it exactly as the quote states, because it really meant a lot to me. It felt so right. And I put it in there. And it's the only thing with color. And I believe, I'm going to check, I believe it has purple on it, but I will make sure.
Well, another adjustment is actually all the rainbow colors.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Amazing.
I just didn't offer that.
Literally the only place that has a pop of color, and it has rainbow. So
I love
here
that.
We go. Intuition is working.
So the idea, I love this actually, because my mentor was just reminding me that the rainbow colors, having all the colors represents that all your bases are covered, that you can pull from wood, from the 5 elements, from wood, from fire, from earth, from water, from metal. You can pull from all of those resources available to you to achieve what you need. And in addition, it also supports you because you're in this space, you're working with people, you offer healing towards people, you're a healer, you offer guidance to people. And I teach people too. So you meet all sorts of people. So it also equips you with the balance of all of the elements in this world, energetically and physically, to be able to meet the demands of all the different personality types that you will come across as well, so that you can be the teacher and the guide that is supportive for all personality types. So it's kind of offering the people that come to your space that ability to also benefit, and that equips you to show up with integrity.
I love that. So no matter where things fall in your home, like you said, that could be problematic, but there's always a solution to balance it.
Usually the feng shui that I practice is often remedial, and usually there's a way to work with it. I also like to remind people, because I think there is this idea that there's a fear of doing, the feng shui is bad.
Yeah.
Doing something wrong. And I like to remind my students and people I work with that maybe there's something challenging with your space because that's what you needed at the time, or that your
of course
non-conscious mind wants to exacerbate that issue for you because you're now ready to handle it. So there are some very rare cases where you would say it's probably a good idea to move, but I've never said that generally because people come to me and oh, I just signed a lease on this space, or just handed the
Yeah.
the check for the deposit or something. But most things are workable. Just like in life, we have the gift to know that we can make things okay. And how do we accept the challenges? So maybe we do pick a difficult space. Maybe the like you're looking for your life partner, and then you found out your bathroom is in the relationship area, and you're like, oh no. So you can make that decision to either worry and think that you've made it harder for yourself to have a relationship, or you can learn how maybe you can turn that around.
Yeah, I love that. So empowering. So if someone, since we're talking about relationship, if someone does want to welcome a relationship into their life, what are the things you tell your clients to do?
So usually focusing on the bedroom. So the bedroom, so we've talked about the front door mostly, and that's your connection to the outside world. The bedroom, on the other hand, is your most private space. So if I came over to your house, you probably wouldn't like say, Angie, come into my bedroom first.
Yeah.
We would like hang out in the more public areas. And generally a bedroom is just you and your partner, maybe a child. If you have a partner, it could just be you. And also it's where you spend a lot of non-conscious time.
Yeah.
You're asleep. So that's the first place I would go, because generally it represents your partnership or your future partnership. And so I would look at the bed. Is the bed up against the wall? Is there space on both sides of the bed? Is there a nightstand for each person? Like, the nightstands don't need to be matchy-matchy, but is there a balanced relationship? Is there a headboard? That's a big one. A lot of people don't want a headboard, which is okay, but I say if you want a relationship, I would get a headboard. Okay. The headboard represents having that mountain behind you that connects the partners together and provides support, whether you're there or not. It's connecting you. And you would avoid like a headboard, for instance, that has perforations or bars. Like, bars would kind of symbolize being imprisoned in your relationship, and something that's stable, secure, things like that. And I would also ask people to look at what's under their bed. Do you have anything under your bed?
I have drawers. We have drawers under our bed.
And what's in those drawers?
Stuff I could probably get rid of, but we keep our bathing suits under there.
That's
some summer stuff.
That's okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. Generally, I tell people if you have to have storage under the bed, ideally, and also if you have fertility issues, ideally there's nothing under the bed, that the chi can flow all around you in bed and be really nourish you while you're sleeping. But if you have to, you should only have soft sleep related items. So avoid things like tax returns.
Oh no, that's not in our bed.
Or letters from an ex, or divorce papers, things like that. And even sometimes people who have insomnia, you would want to avoid things like running shoes or gym equipment, or even really intellectual books. So I think the bathing suits are okay, because it's kind of like, it's clothing, it's soft. But if there's something more sleep related, like, I would ask you, do you guys have trouble sleeping, you or your partner?
No, not at all.
And so then it could be okay.
Only thing sometimes that happens to me when I sleep is I wake up gasping for air.
Oh.
Yeah.
So maybe this is my second question. Also, the position of the bed.
Okay.
So generally you want to have your bed positioned in what we call the commanding position. And that means that when you're lying in bed, and like say you're leaning up against the headboard, you can see the door to the bedroom without directly being in line with it. Okay, good. So that's good. And so for the listeners, sometimes they can't do that for whatever reason, because there's a closet or something. You can set up like a standing mirror so when you're laying in bed, lying against the headboard, you can see the reflection of the door, so that you can see the chi coming towards you. But you're gasping for air. I wonder what time does that happen?
Usually around 12 a.m.
Okay, I'll ask you something later.
Yeah.
I have to look something up. But sometimes, like for instance, my husband always wakes up at a certain time, around, I think, between 3 and 5 a.m. And he's born in the year of the monkey. And that time period between 3 and 5 a.m. is the tiger hour, and tiger and monkey have the
Oh my
worst
goodness.
relationship. Have a
That's so wild.
yeah, so it might be something like that too.
Interesting. I do feel like it's more energetic. I actually went and looked into it medically, and no one can tell me anything. They're like, no, there's nothing here on this. So I do think it's energetic.
There's also an organ connection
Yeah.
too in Chinese medicine. I can't remember what it is for each hour, but
Me neither.
is that midnight? Midnight?
Around midnight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's rat hour between 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. is rat hour. So if you're born in the year of the horse?
I don't know what I was born in. I was 88.
I don't have that part memorized,
Yeah.
but we'll look it up later afterwards.
Interesting.
But if you're born in the year of the horse, that's the challenging relationship astrologically. And have you been only doing this at your home right now, or has it been?
Yeah.
Okay. So rat is connected to water element. So there's some kind of fear. It's connected to the kidneys.
Interesting.
So from a Feng Shui perspective, you could also maybe wear something that's black or have some like a black crystal around
Okay,
you
I do.
to support
On
the
my
water
nightstand.
element. Yeah.
Okay. That's a great idea.
And eat more black things like black rice, soy sauce, blackberries, that.
Okay.
Or bring in color, or wear black crystals. Or
Interesting.
yeah. So
while I sleep?
yeah, near you while you sleep. So maybe like get some nice black pajamas or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. To soothe that and to soothe that water element.
Interesting. So is it ideal, based off what you shared, is it ideal to have like a floating bed with nothing at all underneath it?
It's ideal to have nothing under your bed, but not a floating bed.
Okay. So the
you mean a
platform
floating-
beds are fine. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like they're
Oh.
on legs.
No, it's better to have a bed on legs.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, because
after
you have
said
drawers
that.
underneath,
Yeah.
right?
So I don't have that, but I feel like the flow of energy would be nice. All right, maybe we're getting a new bed soon.
So you can get a new bed. And so here's the thing, so there's a misconception that, I have to buy all this new stuff. It's okay the listener, if you have a platform bed, you don't have to go buy a new bed. But if you were in the market for one anyway, then you would want to get one that has legs that the air can flow around you, especially if you're trying to conceive or something, because the chi gets stagnant underneath there and it affects you when you're sleeping. So ideally, the more Feng Shui friendly bed is one that with the energy can flow all around you. But you can take the drawers and make sure that they're tidy, make sure maybe open them up occasionally so the chi can move. You can put in you can mist with an orange essential oil spray that lifts the chi, or put in a crystal there that lifts the chi, carnelian, something bright.
Got it.
Like a bright colored, or citrine that can brighten up the space. Because just think about it, that if you don't look in there and you're not, I mean, you have your bathing suits and you're near the beach, but maybe for 6-8 months of the year, you're not going in there. But just for anyone that has drawers underneath, they tend to have storage and it just accumulates dust and the chi is stagnant. It's not moving. And you want it to move around you and nourish you while you're sleeping.
Okay. I'm going to work on that for sure. So that's for relationships. Now, what if someone has felt blocked in finding their purpose or in their career?
Yeah, that's very common too, I think, especially now. And there's an area of the Feng Shui Bagua mandala that relates to your career and your path in life. So it doesn't have to necessarily be work, but your path in this life. And that's the black area we talked about. So if you look at your home, if you're standing in the front door of your home, kind of the center, if you look at that front wall, it'd be the center. So this one's a little bit easier to explain visually, but for you, I think that's where your door is for your space, right? It's in the center?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, actually, let's do it this way. So for the listeners, one simple way to work with this bagua, if you don't know how to place it on your home, is you can actually apply it to just your bed. And your path in life and not knowing what to do and clarifying that confusion is directly related to you. So it's helpful to look at it on your bed because that's your most personal, close space. And confusion is connected to the non-conscious mind and not being able to see clearly, right? So you don't know what steps to take in your life. So you can actually stand at the foot of your bed, stand at the center of the foot of your bed, and that's the career or path in life area of your bed. And you could place something underneath it to enhance it. So it could be a black crystal. You can use the color black. You could also use something like, let me think, like what we talked about earlier. Maybe you set some intentions and write a little letter to yourself and use a new black pen and write that letter and place it in a red envelope, because red is not the most auspicious color in Feng Shui. So you could place that in a red envelope and place it like under your bed or maybe under your mattress, but between the frame and the mattress, with the intention that you'll be sleeping over this every night. So you'll know what steps, and your feet will be over these intentions, so that you'll start to clarify your mind confusion and know what steps to take.
Got it.
So those intentions will be under your feet, and then you know how to move forward to provide some clarity. And then in tandem, I would also definitely work with the front door that we talked about. And one simple thing that people can do is make sure the light fixture is working. Like I just worked with a client who is in a rental, and she has an ugly rental light fixture in the entry. So I said, for here, why don't you get something that you love and bring some care into this area of your space, which will help to enhance how you connect to the outside world, which is directly related to like what to do to find your way in the world.
Yeah. I love that. And that's inside the light fixture.
It could be outside too.
Outside.
But just that, like by your front door. So the light represents fire element. So it's like taking a bright spotlight and shining it on your face to the world or how people see you. It also helps to guide you and bring more light and clarity and illumination as you move out into the world every day, as you walk through your front door and as you come back home. And you don't have to use the light. You just need the potential for that light. The opposite would be having a really dark space where you can't see what's happening. And that's the feeling that a lot of people have. Like they don't know where to go. They're in the dark. They can't see the path forward. So literally brighten it up with a light bulb.
Yeah, I love that. What if someone is feeling blocked financially, whether they feel like no matter what, they're in the same financial place, or they've had a goal and they haven't been able to reach it, or like they know they're bringing in money, but they never feel that energetically?
So there is an area of the Bagua map like that we talked about where your bathroom is.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would look out for. Like see if you have your bathroom in the wealth area of your home or your business, because you remember I described the water comes in, but the water comes out. Another thing would be a secondary door, like a door to a garage, a door to a patio, some secondary door to the outside world. To the outside. Well, it's good and bad. So it's good that you have more opportunity for finances to come in, but also for finances to leak out.
Got it.
So sometimes if people tell me that's kind of like the financial thing, it sounds like things are coming in but going out, right? Like, so it's not ever really accumulating.
Got it.
So one, I would look to see if there's a leakage that needs to be addressed. So for instance, like the bathroom, the ways to work with it would be to bring a living green plant. If you don't have light, you can bring the color red or the color purple. A succulent could work too. Okay. I would avoid a sharp plant though.
Okay.
Unless you think someone is taking money from you.
Okay.
Because that's more protective.
Got it. Like a snake plant.
Yeah,
with the
like a snake
points,
plant. Yep.
protective. I actually have a snake plant near that corner.
Okay.
I have it. It's like on the border of abundance and inspiration, my snake plant.
But you might not need, you might not need that.
I know, that's why I'm asking
Yeah.
you.
Okay. So I would only recommend it if you know or you suspect there's like someone that's working for you that's what is it called when they do that? I don't.
Okay, like taking advantage or just
yes.
like not, no.
But where you might need it because you have visibility is you might move it more to the visibility area. Because which is the more towards the center of the wall.
Okay. The inspiration area? No.
Yeah. So if you stand in the door of your space looking in, just straight ahead.
Straight ahead. Okay.
Not the corners, but it would be better if it's towards the center more because that's your visibility area. And especially if you have visibility, which you do, it's easy for people to talk behind your back or to gossip or misconstrue things just because there's more people seeing you. Yeah. It doesn't mean it's not personal, obviously, because you're a delightful person.
Thank you.
But they don't, it's like, that's just it's just part of the course. So like once I started to have a little bit of visibility, I started having a little bit of like people slandering me. Accusing me of things that were not true. So I put a snake plant there to provide a little bit of strength and with the intention that I would embody this fierce compassion that I could hold the sword. Mm-hmm. And you can cut away what's not helpful, what's not supporting you, and you can be strong and visible and put yourself out there. But at the same time, you can protect yourself too.
Yeah.
So for you, I would move it over because I don't, unless you think you need the finance. I didn't get the feeling.
It's kind of on the border because it's not in my bathroom, which is definitely in the abundance corner. Mm-hmm.
but your
honestly,
mom
like
intuited that.
Yes, my mom definitely did. It was very funny because I actually was like, I think it's too much color. It doesn't really go. And then she bought it anyway. And she's like, wait, I totally interpreted that text that you wanted it. And now I'm so happy it's there. Mm-hmm. We'll look at a picture of it later and confirm that there's some purple in it.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Very interesting. I like that a lot. It's so cool how we can work with energy and the elements and what we could bring in different ways.
Yeah. Oh, but back to like wealth. So
yeah.
So I think your question about like if the
someone just feels
stagnant,
blocked in that way.
Yeah, blocked. I would put if you can, either in your desk area so that if you're sitting at your desk, the far left corner of your desk, or your bedroom, if you stand in the door of your bedroom looking in the far left corner, those are both the wealth area. I would try to put a living green plant if you can.
Funny enough, I used to have a snake plant in that corner as well in my room.
Yes, for you, not good a snake. But for you, I think it would be something that would, or for you don't need the protection with that, right? Yeah. You want to invite more.
Yeah.
But for everyone else, yeah, generally you don't. You want to use snake plants in most cases.
So like a money tree would be good there.
Yes, or anything with soft or heart-shaped leaves. What I would actually recommend is something that's easy. Do you want to have your financial growth be something you have to look up on, like something that's really hard to care for, like a really finicky plant?
My husband has the green thumb, so he does it all.
Yes, but there's also plants out there like the pothos even the people who have no idea about plants can keep them alive.
Okay.
So even though your husband's good at it, you could also put something, or the listeners can put something in that area. And I would pick low-hanging fruit. Like if you feel stuck with your income or your finances or your abundance, don't pick the hardest thing. Instead, pick something that's easy. Why create an obstacle for yourself? Like you're going to be like, oh my God, I don't know how to care for this thing. You want to pick something that will take care of itself, like all the ways that you would want to describe your finances.
Right.
Oh, I want it to grow on its own. Yeah. I want it to like propagate on its own. I want it to flourish without much effort. So find the phrases that you would apply to that easy to care for plant. And another thing I like to do is ask people to think about someone like a mentor or a friend in their life that really embodies like your like goals in that respect, whether like with like they're really great, they have like a really successful business that's super abundant. So one of my friends, when they left New York, they had like both like, this is back when people had blogs, or I guess they still do, but like the husband sold his blog to Time Warner.
Wow.
And she sold her blog. And then so when they left, they gave me a bunch of plants. And those plants had their chi.
Yeah.
And so you can do the same. You can ask a friend who has a lot of good money chi. If they like plants, you could say, hey, like, can I get a little cutting of that pothos or whatever plant? And so that if that's possible, you can also use that as your little starter in your desk or in the wealth area of your desk or the wealth area of your bedroom, and then see if you can flourish, if this plant can grow with you. And it's like a slow and steady growth, which is what you kind of want, right?
Yeah.
But you don't want one, again, like a plant. You don't want a plant that's difficult. You don't want a plant that is finicky. You want one that will grow easily, that will flourish, that can make lots of babies, you can share with people, like all of those really expansive qualities.
So with that guide, you can take that guide not only into the room, but into sections of the room, correct?
Not exactly. You can lay the bagua on your whole home or in a room. And for instance, the bedroom represents you that I mentioned. You can also put it on like your desk, which represents your career.
Got it.
Or your office, which is
like
the
I
room,
have
but not
an
just
area.
part of the room.
So in the space that I just opened, there is the general area where people teach, where I teach, where people receive a class, and then there's an alcove.
Is there
which
walls?
is where I work.
Are there walls in between?
No, there's
Okay.
nothing cutting it off in between, but it's a section. It has 3 walls and an opening to like look into the other space.
So there are walls.
3 walls,
Okay.
but not a wall like with a door that closes it off.
That's okay. So how big is the door opening? Like
It's not a door opening, it's a wall opening.
Sorry, how big is the wall opening?
I think 7 feet.
So it's quite large.
Yeah.
But yes, you can. So you could stand in that wall opening and lay another bagua there.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, but there needs to be an actual wall, for the most part. Like there's always exceptions, but I would say in general there needs to be like a wall or a separate thing, just like the desk itself is separate, or the bed. You can lay the bagua on the bed, but it's a separate object. But you wouldn't just do half of the room.
Got it.
Without there being a physical partition or some kind of physical element.
Okay. What other areas do you feel like people come to you for, and what it's like the number one thing that people come for? Is it just overall like energy flow of the house, or are there specific issues that they want solved through Feng Shui?
So because I primarily teach, and if I do a consultation, it's generally for my students to audit, most of the people that I work with just are open to like whatever like you see. But then I always ask what their wishes are. So it's all over the place. Like someone I just worked with like wants to expand her family, and another person wants to, sell their business, so it depends. But a lot of people generally off the cuff ask about their either wealth or partnership. And then I'll dig in deeper, because wealth, there's many different reasons why you have a wealth issue. Like you said, there could be that you feel stuck, or maybe you need to get a better paying job. Like sometimes it could be very simple, or there's some kind of drain on your finances, or you need to have more confidence. There's a lot of different ways that you can look at it. And then a lot of people want to work on partnership, meet a romantic partner, a long-term partnership.
I wanted to make sure I covered the heavy hitters, and I feel like we did.
Yeah.
Because I know what people come like to me for meditation as well, and I feel like our our work aligns, because it's all about energy and shifting our energy or energy of our home to be able to welcome in and create space for what we want.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Feng Shui is approachable for certain people because one, it's a little bit easy because it's outside of you. It's not you directly, it's your environment. And then people who tend to really like to work with interior spaces and like to make their spaces beautiful come to Feng Shui. And also there's people who just feel completely like overwhelmed by their environment. And it definitely, it's working with the same thing. Like when you work with breath work and meditation in the body, that's working more directly on some of the issues, but it's always helpful to do both. Like I tell people that Feng Shui is really working on the inner and the outer. When you start to change your environment, you also start to change your inner environment. But you already have like a natural ability to make your spaces beautiful. And not a lot of people have that too. So there's also people that come with a longing to, they know like their space is an obstacle to them and somehow it's depressing to come home, or their space is just, they don't want to come home, or their spaces don't support them.
When someone's just getting a space, whether it's for business or for home, when is your entry point to help them? Like, are you in the beginning phases of literally a build out, or are you after they come up with the concept and the design, like you come in to add and balance everything out, or both?
It's both, but generally most people come to Feng Shui after they've already found a place. There's definitely people I work with, like when they're looking for a space or before they design a space, but generally most people come after the fact. I think it's mostly like a budget concern, right? So they don't need a consultant during that whole process, or it doesn't occur to them.
Yeah.
And then people just, it's a little bit of a misconception, but people generally think, oh, because after I move into a new space, I can do a Feng Shui thing. But it's not as helpful, say, if you're about to move out of a space, because I always get a student every cohort who's about to move out. So then, we accommodate that. But generally it's people like right after they move into a space, and then we look at it. And that's a little bit a missed opportunity, because there are some people, like, you might say this isn't the best space for you, is there another? But at the same time, I'm in New York City, and I know that it's a unicorn to find the perfect space.
You get what you get. You don't get upset.
Right.
That's what we used to say in school.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's definitely, in a perfect world, we could like build our most aligned space. But I think what's so empowering about the practice is being able to balance it all out, given whatever it is that we're given. And also depending on our own instincts and intuition while we are selecting a space, and intuitively knowing what's going to work for us energetically and what won't.
Yeah, so nothing's perfect for everyone at any time.
Yeah.
And part of our path in this life is to meet challenges, because that's the goal in this life, to work through challenges. No one's going to have there's no such thing as a perfect space. In fact, from a Feng Shui perspective, we would say if everything was perfect, that means that you're at the top of the peak and the only place to go is down. So there's no perfection. And if you think that you try to achieve that, then it just means that the energy will now shift downward.
Interesting. I love this conversation so much. So you have this book, which is a wealth of knowledge and resources. I love it so much. It's called Mindful Living, A Guide to the Everyday Magic of Feng Shui. And where can everyone find you if they want to follow along with what you offer?
So I have a school, a Feng Shui school. I teach practitioners. It's called Mindful Design Feng Shui School, and we do lots of different content that is available for everyone. So we have a podcast also called the Holistic Spaces Podcast, and people can find me at mindfuldesignschool.com.
I love that. Thank you so much for all of this and for sharing with us.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
I really enjoyed it. And I have a lot of work to do when I get home. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this. We have some resources in the show notes. Her book is so supportive if you want to go deeper in this. We also tagged her so you can follow along with all the content that they share. And I hope it was helpful. I found it way more empowering than scary. There's always a way to bring our natural state back into flow and into a space of abundance. And she shared so many tips in order to do that here. I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you next time. Satnam.